Keys.
And and then after you gave her keys, what happened? What did she do?
She left.
How long did she leave for?
Maybe around a half hour.
And after a half hour, when was the next time you saw her? Or where was it that you saw her next?
Believe in the kitchen.
And when you saw her in the kitchen, did she give you something?
I don't remember.
Okay. At some point, you get your keys?
Yes.
Okay. Now, actually, before I get to that, once you returned back and you had got your keys, at some point did you leave later that day to go somewhere?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Back to Odin's house.
And approximately what time, if you recall, you went to Odin's? Was that morning, afternoon, evening?
I believe it was afternoon.
How long, again, that drive on that occasion going from North Attleboro to 10 Faison Street, approximately how long?
About 45 minutes.
And how long did you stay at Faison Street?
I don't recall.
Do you recall after you went to Faison Street what you did?
Yes.
What did you do?
I drove back to my sister's house.
And again, approximately the same period of time in travel?
Yes.
What time do you believe you returned?
Sometime in the evening.
When you returned, did you notice anything around in or near the house?
Yes.
What was that?
A bunch of police cars.
And where were the police cars?
On the street, and there may have been some in the driveway. I don't remember.
When you saw that, what did you do?
I spoke to one of the officers and...
Without getting into what was said, but after speaking to him, did you go somewhere?
Yes.
Where did you go?
I drove into the driveway.
And what did you do when you drove in the driveway?
Parked the car.
And after parking, what did you do?
I walked into the house.
And how did you go into the house, if you recall?
Through the front door.
And where in the house, after going through the front door, where did you go?
The great room.
And did you see anybody in the great room?
Yes.
Who did you see?
Aaron, I believe my sister and my niece.
And what did you see Aaron doing?
He was laying on the couch.
Now, did you see other people in the home?
Yes.
Do you know what they were doing?
Searching the home.
How long were they there for, if you recall?
I don't recall.
Now, ma'am, you indicated there was a surveillance system at the home.
Yes.
At some point, have you had an occasion to look at some footage from the home?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just going to, if I could approach you,
Right.
I'm just going to show you this disc and ask you if you recognize it.
Yes.
Okay, and how do you recognize that?
My initials are on it.
Okay, did you watch what's contained on this CD?
Yes.
And what does it show on the CD?
The home surveillance.
Okay, and do you see yourself in that home surveillance?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd offer this as the next exhibit.
I have no objection.
May we mark as the next exhibit?
Exhibit 11.
Thank you. Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could play that.
Me.
Ma'am, I'm just going to have you address your attention to the monitor there. If I put my hand on your shoulder here, hold on. Ma'am, do you see what's showing on the video right there?
Yes.
Do you recognize that scene?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
I watched it before.
Okay, but do you recognize that vehicle?
Yes.
Whose car is that?
Mine.
And is somebody getting out this time?
Yes.
Who is that?
Myself and my uncle.
So are you getting out on what side?
The left side.
Is that you there approaching the home?
Yes.
And just so it's, where did you go once you approached the home?
Into the garage.
And just, could you hold it there 1 second? Just as related to that last clip, what date and time was that was just shown when your vehicle came onto the driveway?
That was the 17th, and when I first arrived, so around 6 in the morning.
Okay.
Or the 18th, I'm sorry.
Okay, in terms of the date, do you remember what date that was?
Only based off of there.
Okay, but let me just ask you this way. With regard to Sunday night, do you remember what the day was?
16th.
Monday, were you able to have phone contact with Odin?
No.
What time did Trooper Benson call you? Was it on that Monday or a different day?
Tuesday morning, the 18th.
Okay. So what day did you go from Connecticut with your Uncle Donnie to North Attleboro?
The 18th.
Okay. I'm just going to have you watch this clip here. Do you see yourself in this?
Yes.
Okay, and where are you?
Walking into the room from the kitchen.
And is this on the same date and at that same time, shortly after that last clip?
Yes.
Who is this now?
My uncle.
Okay. Do you see, okay, do you see yourself again here?
Yes.
And again, is this on that same date?
Yes.
And approximately what time is this?
Still around 6 o'clock in the morning.
Now, this person who's entered the video, who's that?
My sister.
And I have no objection to Mr. McCauley speaking this up.
And Your Honor, if I could, I would just ask to go to the next clip, please. Now, ma'am, with regards to that last clip, were you there with your sister for some period of time, some number of minutes?
Yes.
Okay. And do you see yourself here, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. What area of the home are you in?
The foyer area.
And where are you going at that time?
Into the dining room.
And approximately what time was that? Just hold that.
A little before 8 in the morning.
Okay. Now, is there somebody else in this video?
Yes.
Who is that?
Aaron?
And did you see him at this time?
Yes.
And earlier, when you indicated there was some contact, when was that in relation to this?
It was right then.
Okay, now this, do you see this video here?
Yes.
And do you see yourself in the video?
Yes.
Okay. And what room is this showing?
The great room?
And did you remain, how long did you remain in the great room?
I don't recall.
Do you recall what you were doing during, this time?
Sleeping?
How long is this video? Does this go on for another approximately 5-6 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. And with the court's permission, Your Honor, if counsel agrees, we can
It's fine.
move to the next clip. Thank you. Okay, this next clip, ma'am, do you see yourself in that?
Yes.
And what are you doing here?
Sitting down?
Anybody else in the room with you at that time?
Yes.
And who else is here?
My niece and my sister. And my uncle.
And your uncle, is he in the foreground of this?
Yes.
Now, who is that right there leaving the room?
My sister?
And what did you see her doing at that time?
Talking on the phone?
And who is that back in the screen?
My sister?
Do you see what she's doing there?
Yes.
What was she doing?
Putting on her shoes?
What are you doing here?
Picking up my niece.
Can you hold that? Who is that just entered the room?
My sister?
And did she have anything with her?
Yes.
What did she have?
A black garbage bag.
And where did she go with the black trash bag?
To the basement.
Okay, do you see your sister here?
Yes.
And where did she come from?
The basement?
When she came up from the basement, did she have anything with her?
No.
And what are you doing at this time?
Walking to get my keys.
And what did you do with your keys there?
I don't recall.
Did you see another person in the video in the kitchen area?
Yes.
Who was that person, if you know?
One of the cleaning ladies?
How many cleaning ladies were there that day?
I'm not sure.
Do you know if it was more than one or?
There was more than one, yes.
In relation to that last video, when did your sister leave?
Right at the end of it.
That next one. There's one more to play, Your Honor. Could you recognize what's depicted here?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that?
Myself coming out of my car.
When you say coming out of your car, where were you coming from?
When I came from Odin's house.
Okay, and the approximate time was?
7:30 p.m.
Now, you had indicated that there was something going on. Is that shown in this video?
Yes.
Okay, do you see yourself in this video?
Yes.
And where are you?
Entering the house.
There are a couple of people around that area.
Yes.
Who were those folks?
Detectives.
Do you know anybody by the name of Jono?
Yes.
Who is Jono?
Tanya Singleton's son.
And had you ever met him?
Yes.
And how old is he?
I don't know.
When you met him, how old?
I'm not sure.
Is he, this person, child, teen, adult?
A child.
And the name Carlos Ortiz, do you know anybody by that name?
Now I do, yes.
Okay, but had you ever met anybody or seen anybody by that name prior to this matter?
No.
And at the time, back in June of 2013, what was your phone number?
860-518-9171.
And did you know your sister's phone number?
860-502-2593.
And what about Odin's phone number?
617-785-3008.
Me?
Ma'am, I'm going to show you these 3 pages, just ask you to take a look at them. Do you recognize the information on these documents?
Yes.
And what is that?
My telephone number, my sister's number, and Odin's number.
And do they accurately reflect the numbers that you just testified before this jury?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd offer this as the next exhibit.
Any objection?
No.
May we mark this next exhibit?
Through 14.
If I could just overhead. And I'm placing number 12 on the screen. That accurately reflects your telephone number in June of 2013.
Yes.
And exhibit number 13, does that accurately reflect the number of your sister in June of 2013?
Yes.
Now exhibit 14 on the overhead, does that accurately reflect Odin's number in June of 2013?
Yes.
Ma'am, did you know, outside of Shayana Jenkins and Aaron, did you know anybody else in North Attleboro?
No,
How about Odin?
not that I know of.
And approach, Your Honor. Actually, before I do, ma'am, during the course of your relationship with Odin Lloyd, were there certain articles or possessions that he had that you had seen in the past?
Yes.
Okay. Just going to have you take a look at 5 photographs. If you would just look at them and see if you recognize any what's depicted in the photos. Do you recognize what's depicted in these photographs?
Yes.
And what do you recognize them to be?
Odin's wallet, keys, and cell phone.
Are they in substantially the same condition as when you had previously seen it in real life?
Yes.
And off of this is the next exhibit, please.
Without objection?
No, Your Honor, no.
Or maybe mark as the next exhibit.
A through E.
Your Honor, if I could use the projector again.
Me.
And I'm going to show you what's now marked 15A. What do you recognize this to be?
Odin's wallet.
If I could just jump down to 15E, recognize that.
Yes.
And what is that?
Odin's wallet.
Now 15A, do you recognize anything else about this wallet in this position here?
Yes.
What is that?
His license.
What is 15B? Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that to be?
Odin's cell phone.
15C, recognize this?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
Odin's cell phone.
And 15D, do you recognize the item here?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that to be?
Odin's keys.
Just directing your attention to this item here. Did Odin have a nickname?
Yes.
And what was that?
O.
Do you know anybody who called him that?
Yes.
Who was that?
I believe Aaron and Bo did.
I got one more, please. Thank you.
You mean Claire?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Jenkins, I may be confused, and I probably am, but when Mr. McCauley was just showing you some clips for the court and the jurors and the gentleman in front of me, did you see a clip, or did you talk about a piece of that clip which showed your sister walking inside of their home with a garbage bag?
Yes.
And during that week, there's Father's Day Sunday, there's Monday, there's Tuesday, there's Wednesday, there's Thursday. What day of the week was it when you saw your sister walking around those clips that we showed the jury?
Tuesday.
That was Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. And the clips that you were then shown by the prosecutors, that was the same day, that was Tuesday?
Correct.
Okay. And that's when the police came to search the house?
Correct.
It's fair to say, is it not, Ms. Jenkins, that you've had a number of conversations and meetings with various police officers investigating this case, correct?
Correct.
And you've met with, or you've spoken over the phone with a number of police officers, and you've met with them in person, correct?
Yes.
And is it fair to say that in addition to the police officers, whether the state police officers or the North Attleboro police officers, you've met with several of the gentlemen in front of me, that is the two tables here?
Yes.
Mr. McCauley, Mr. Bomberg, Mr. Griffin?
Correct.
You testified, did you not, at some point in the grand jury in this building back in the summer of 2013, correct?
I testified at the grand jury, but it wasn't in this building.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Where was it?
Somewhere around, I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm sorry. Do you remember when it was that you testified in the grand jury? Remember the month?
July, I believe.
Was it the 16th of July of 2013?
I don't know.
And when you testified in the grand jury or before the grand jury in July of 2013, who was it that asked you questions?
Mr. McCauley?
And about how long did you spend in the grand jury with Mr. McCauley asking you questions?
I'm not sure.
In addition to testifying in the grand jury in July of 2013, you also testified under oath at another proceeding, correct? That is prior to today.
Correct.
And who was it that asked you questions at that second proceeding at which you testified under oath?
Mr. McCauley?
And do you recall about how long it was that you testified that second time under oath?
3 days.
Prior to coming into court today to testify before these jurors and Her Honor Justice Garsh, did you get a chance to look at the transcript of your testimony back in July of 2013 when Mr. McCauley was asking you questions in the grand jury?
Yes.
Did you get a chance to look at either a transcript or notes or any type of recording or any visual images or anything to jog your memory or refresh your memory about the 3 days that you testified before?
Briefly.
And what was it that you looked at briefly?
Videos.
Did you look at the various police reports that were generated as a result of conversations with you?
No.
And is it fair to say, strike that, you're obviously doing your best to recall as much as you can about what you know about what happened to Odin, correct?
Correct.
And you're doing your best under real tough circumstances to come into a courtroom and talk about the gentleman on trial, correct, Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Now, this morning, Mr. McCauley asked you a lot of questions about the inside of Aaron's house, correct? Mr. Hernandez's house, where your sister lived.
Yes.
Correct? And he had you identify surveillance cameras in different rooms in the house, correct?
Yes.
Now, I think you told the jurors when Mr. McCauley was asking you some questions about Mr. Wallace. Well, by the way, you knew him as Bo, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did someone tell you, just yes or no, that his true name was Ernest Wallace?
No.
Well, when you testified in the grand jury, and again, only if you remember, when you testified in the grand jury in July of 2013, do you recall being asked by Mr. McCauley at page 16, the individual you refer to as Bo, do you know what his true name is? Do you recall what your answer was?
I don't.
Do you recall saying, not off the top of my head? No.
I don't recall.
May I approach the witness? Excuse me. I just want to show you page 16, Mr. McCauley, lines 12 through 14. You could just look at those and read those. Excuse me. Read those to yourself for a minute, then look up when you've had a chance to read those lines. Okay. Does that refresh your memory as to the question Mr. McCauley asked you and what you answered back in July of 2013?
Yes.
Okay. tell the jurors what Mr. McCauley asked you.
And this individual you refer to as Bo, do you know what his true name is?
And if you would, just tell us what you said, at least in July of 2013.
Not off the top of my head, no.
Do you remember when, and if you don't, you don't, do you remember how it was or when it was that you learned Mr. Wallace's true name?
I believe through the media.
Now, I think Mr. McCauley also asked you some questions about when it was that you first met the gentleman who you knew to be Bo. Remember those questions this morning?
Yes.
And let me ask you this. At some point in 2013, you went to California, correct?
Correct.
And could you tell the jurors, Ms. Jenkins, when it was that you went to California?
I believe the end of March.
And how long did you stay in California?
A few days.
And who did you go to California with?
With one of my sister's friends and her boyfriend.
Is it fair to say, or would you agree, and I understand you're doing the best you can many years later, but is it fair to say that you did not first meet the gentleman named Bo back in January or February or March of 2013, but that you met the gentleman you referred to and knew as Bo after you came back from California?
I don't recall.
Do you recall, and I'm almost done with this situation in July of 2013, when you testified in the grand jury and Mr. McCauley asked you questions back in July of 2013, do you recall being asked by Mr. McCauley, when did you first start to see him? And you said maybe a couple of months ago. That's at page 55.
I recall the question, I don't recall the answer.
Well, may I approach the witness? If you could, excuse me, just read lines 4 through 12. Have you had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Okay. And when you testified back in July of 2013 about how long you had known the gentleman you knew to be Bo that year, didn't you tell the grand jurors that I've known him for a couple of months?
Yes.
And when you were asked questions by Mr. McCauley back in July of 2013 about how long you had known the gentleman Bo at that time, didn't you say I first met him, or I probably met him after, all right, I think I met him, something like that, after California?
I did, yes.
Excuse me. During 2013, I think you told the jurors, Ms. Jenkins, that you were then in college, correct, in school?
Not at the time of grand jury, no.
No, I'm sorry, I apologize, my bad. During the spring of 2013, before you went to California, you were going to school in Connecticut, correct?
Yes.
And were you going during the days or at night or both?
At night.
And I think you told us that you had 2 or 3 jobs.
Correct.
Okay. And when were you working at those 2 or 3 jobs?
During the day and overnight.
Okay. And when you say during the day and overnight, to the best you can remember, was it a couple days a week, 5 days a week, during the week, only on weekends? Generally, when was it that you were working?
Almost, just about every day.
And when you say just about every day, I think just about every day means different things to different people. When you say just about every day, do you mean literally 7 days a week?
It varied. Some weeks, yes.
Maybe I missed it. Where were you working again? What were those 2 or 3 jobs?
Comfort Suites, MR Home Care, and Bendette and McHugh.
And those were all in and around Bristol, Connecticut.
Correct.
Would you agree with me that the first time, I think, strike that, would you agree with me that your sister Cheyenne had a birthday party the first weekend in June 1st and 2nd of that year?
I'm not sure of the dates, but yes, it was the first weekend.
Approach the witness.
No.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, putting before you what appears to be a calendar, not strike appears, what is a calendar of June of 2013. Do you see on that small calendar the date on which your sister celebrated her birthday?
Yes,
And what date was that?
June 1st.
And was that birthday party for your sister Cheyenne, do you recall now that was the first time that you met the gentleman named Bob?
That is not correct.
May this be marked by identification?
No objection.
It's marked for identification.
See for ID.
Thanks.
Is it fair to say that you met Bo for the first time sometime after you came back from California?
I don't recall.
Well, do you recall, and again, you may or may not, do you recall being asked by Mr. McCauley the last time you testified under oath, do you recall being asked when was the next occasion that you would have met this individual known as Bo? And do you recall saying, I think he was there for the birthday in June?
I'm going to object to the context of that question, Your Honor, without knowing what the predicate question was.
Oral.
I don't recall.
Do you recall, and if you don't, you don't. I'm just trying to...
She's answered the question.
Yes, you may question.
Do you recall telling Mr. McCauley, but I met him before that, so probably in the end of May?
I don't recall.
Well, what's your best memory today in March of 2016 as to when it is that you first met the gentleman who was known to you as Bo?
Sometime, I would say, in the beginning of 2013.
And you would agree with me, would you not, that that isn't what you told the grand jury back in July of 2013, correct?
I would not agree. I said a couple months before the that point in time, which could be a wide variety of things.
Well, given that it was July 16th, what would a couple months?
A couple months could be 3 or 4 months, which would still make it the beginning of 2013.
Let me ask you this. Prior to coming before the jury today in this trial, when did you first tell anybody? A police officer, someone in the grand jury, Mr. McCauley, Mr. Bomberg, or Mr. Griffin, that you first met the gentleman known to you as Bo back in January of 2013? Who's the first person you told that to, and when was it? Or is today the first day?
I don't recall when I said I met him in January 2013. During the time that you were in North Attleboro with Mr. Lloyd visiting your sister and Mr. Hernandez, did you ever spend time at the condominium that Mr. Hernandez had in the town of Franklin? No.
When did you first learn about the condominium that Mr. Hernandez had in Franklin?
I don't remember.
Just yes or no, did Mr. Lloyd ever say anything to you or talk to you about or make any reference to the condominium that Mr. Hernandez had in Franklin?
Not that I can recall.
During the month of June of 2013, you were at Mr. Hernandez and your sister's house on 2 occasions, correct?
Correct.
And the first was for your sister's birthday, correct?
Yes.
And did you and Mr. Lloyd stay Friday and Saturday or just one night?
I stayed both nights. He only stayed Saturday night.
When was the second occasion that you were at your sister's house in North Attleboro in June?
The following weekend.
And what was that occasion?
I had to go up for an interview.
Was that the same weekend that you and a group of your sister's friends and your friends went out to a nightclub?
That was the weekend of my sister's birthday.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
After her cookout at the house, we all, well, I guess Aaron and my sister got a party bus or like a stretch limo, and we all went out to a club in Boston, I believe, Rumor.
And that would have been the first weekend in June?
Correct.
Me.
I want to show you, Ms. Jenkins, a series of 5 photographs. And just ask you to take a quick look at them. Do you recognize what's depicted or shown in each of those photographs?
Yes.
May these be marked in sequential order now?
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mark the next exhibits.
Can you see them?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Let me know if you can't, if I'm doing this wrong.
I can see it.
Okay. Can you just tell the court and the jurors whether you recognize each of the gentlemen in that picture?
Yes.
Okay. And could you tell us, I guess from left to right, the names of those people?
The one on the left, I don't know his name. It's one of my sister's friends' boyfriends. Next to him is John. Then my uncle Little Man, Aaron, his brother DJ, Bo, and Odin.
And could you tell us a little bit about the circumstances of that picture being taken?
That was right before we went out for my sister's birthday.
Can you see that photograph?
Yes.
Sorry. Do you recognize the 6 women in that photograph?
Yes.
And could you tell us who those 6 women are?
The one on the left, I don't know her name. It's my sister's friend. Myself, Lauren, my sister Shayanna, another one of her friends that I don't know, and then Vanessa.
And can you tell us a little bit about that picture? What does it show?
Again, it's right before we went out.
Showing you the next in that series of 5 photographs. Can you tell us what that photograph shows?
It shows all of the girls trying to find something to wear.
Showing you the 4th in that series of 5. Can you tell us what that photograph shows?
It shows inside the party bus limo.
Yeah, can you tell us who's in that picture?
Vanessa, one of my my sister's friends and her boyfriend, another one of her friends, Lauren, the back of Odin, and then my sister all the way to the right.
And lastly, quickly, can you recognize what that photograph shows?
Yes.
What does that show?
It's the inside of the party bus again.
And who's depicted in that photograph?
Odin and Aaron.
Did the gentleman, strike that, did Mr. Wallace or Bo, did he go out on the party bus too? Did he go out that night with you?
I believe so, yes.
Hey, one moment, Your Honor.
Me.
The woman you referred to, Tanya Singleton, can you tell us again what her relationship was with Mr. Hernandez?
I believe it's his cousin.
Excuse me?
I believe it's his cousin.
And did Tanya Singleton have a sister?
Yes.
And what's her sister's name?
I don't remember.
Were you ever made aware of the relationship between Tanya Singleton and the gentleman you knew as Bo?
Not that I can remember, no.
Were you ever made aware of how it was that the gentleman you knew as Bo met Aaron Hernandez?
No.
At some point, did you learn that, living in Bristol, Connecticut, or through your friends, did you learn that Miss Singleton, that is Tanya Singleton, suffered from cancer?
Sustained.
The second weekend in June of 2013, after the group went out on that first weekend, you and Mr. Lloyd came back to your sister's house in North Attleboro that weekend as well, is that correct?
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about whether or not the two of you stayed there Friday and Saturday, or just one night, or some combination of that?
I believe we stayed from Thursday and left Sunday.
The next weekend, Friday being the 14th, Saturday being the 15th, and Sunday being the 16th, where were you that weekend?
In Bristol, Connecticut.
And at some point, did you speak to Mr. Lloyd either on Thursday or Friday, that is Thursday the 13th or Friday the 14th?
Yes.
And just generally, what did you talk about with Mr. Lloyd on Thursday or Friday?
I don't remember.
Did Mr. Lloyd tell you anything in terms of what he intended to do on Friday or Friday night?
I don't remember.
Well, prior to testifying, when you reviewed your grand jury testimony from July of 2013, or when you looked at the little bits of that video from that second time you testified for 3 days, is there anything you read or saw that refreshed your memory as to what, if anything, Mr. Lloyd told you he intended to do on Friday night?
No.
Do you know what Mr. Lloyd did on Friday night?
Yes.
What did he do?
He went out with Aaron.
And when you say that he went out with Aaron, do you know where it was that Mr. Lloyd and Mr. Hernandez went?
Sustained.
Did you have any conversation with Mr. Lloyd, just yes or no, on Friday night?
Yes.
And I take it you were in Connecticut and he was someplace else?
Yes.
And I take it that was by cell phone?
Correct.
And did you have any conversation with him on Saturday morning?
Yes.
And I take it again that was by cell phone?
Correct.
As a result of the second conversation or the second series of communications with Mr. Lloyd on that Saturday morning, did you have a conversation with your sister, Cheyenne Jenkins?
Yes.
And how would you describe your sister's reaction when you spoke with her that Saturday?
Which time?
Well, the first time, after you spoke to Mr. Lloyd.
Overall.